Imagine being born into the world as one of the most formidable predators on the planet, only to find out that your life is anything but easy. You're the ultimate apex predator, with the power to constrict and devour nearly any creature that crosses your path. But being a giant anaconda, one of the largest and most powerful snakes in the world, comes with a series of challenges that are anything but glamorous. Let's start by addressing the obvious. Giant anacondas are huge. Born as small, vulnerable hatchlings, they have the potential to grow into 30-foot-long beasts. But don't let that size fool you into thinking life is all about basking in the jungle sun and eating exotic meals at will. Growing to such an intimidating size comes with its own set of responsibilities and struggles, each more taxing than the last. First off, even from birth, an anaconda must immediately face the reality of being prey before it becomes a predator. Newborn anacondas are small, often only a foot long, and thus, they are vulnerable to a range of other predators, such as birds of prey or even larger carnivores. It's not an easy beginning when you're the next meal in someone else's food chain. Now, let's talk about food. Giant anacondas might be expert hunters, but they don't get that way without effort. For a snake that can weigh up to 500 pounds, the challenge of feeding itself is no small feat. Anacondas primarily hunt in water, often ambushing prey like fish, capybaras, or even caimans. Their method of constriction requires an enormous amount of energy, and it's a risky business. While they might catch their prey, a poorly timed strike or failure to fully overpower their victim could lead to serious injury or even death. And let's not forget that hunting doesn't happen every day. As ambush predators, giant anacondas sometimes go days or even weeks without a meal. This means that the pressure to find food is constant. For an anaconda, a failed hunt could mean a long, painful period of starvation. If you're a young anaconda, every hunt is a crucial test of strength, skill, and survival instinct. And don't forget, being so large, an adult anaconda's meals must be absolutely massive, which makes foraging even more challenging. Unlike some animals, anacondas don't have a long apprenticeship with parents or older members of their species. They're born into the world with minimal guidance. They're expected to immediately begin hunting and adapting to their environment alone. Without a mentor to teach them the ropes, each anaconda has to rely on its instincts and ability to learn through trial and error. This lack of guidance can make survival especially difficult, especially when anacondas are born in environments where water conditions can change rapidly, or when prey species become more elusive. It's a tough world out there, and figuring out how to survive often means learning the hard way. And let's not forget the constant need to deal with competition. Anacondas may be the apex predator in many of the ecosystems they inhabit, but they're not alone at the top of the food chain. Other predators, like jaguars and caimans, often share their territory, and they aren't afraid to engage in direct confrontations with anacondas, especially when food or territory is at stake. But it's not just predators that anacondas have to worry about. Other anacondas are just as competitive when it comes to hunting grounds or mating opportunities. For a young or weaker anaconda, it means constantly being prepared for an attack from all sides, whether it's from rivals, predators, or even the environment itself. Giant anacondas may seem like the ultimate predators, but being so large comes with its own set of physical challenges. Their massive size makes them slower and less agile than smaller snakes. Though they are incredible swimmers, moving through dense underbrush or navigating dry land is cumbersome. In a world where speed and stealth often mean the difference between life and death, being an immovable giant can be a liability. And then there's the challenge of reproduction. Female anacondas have a relatively long gestation period, up to 6 months, and they give birth to a significant number of offspring. But only a small percentage of these young will survive to adulthood. Between the risk of predators, environmental hazards, and the challenges of securing enough food, many will perish before they reach maturity. So, why does it suck to be born as a giant anaconda? The answer lies in the constant pressures that these reptiles face from the very beginning of their lives. They are born into a harsh world, one in which they must face threats from predators, competition from rivals, and the daunting challenge of finding enough food to survive. Each hunt is a test of strength, each encounter a potential fight for survival, and their growth into giants comes at a cost. Despite all these challenges, the giant anaconda remains one of the most successful and resilient species in the wild. Their ability to survive against the odds, navigate hostile environments, and claim their position at the top of the food chain speaks to their strength and endurance. To thrive as a giant anaconda requires more than just size and power, it requires relentless resilience, instinct, and an unyielding drive to conquer the many obstacles that stand in their way. So the next time you see a giant anaconda, remember this: being a giant may seem enviable, but it sure isn't easy. The anaconda's life is one of constant struggle, but its ability to overcome challenges is nothing short of awe-inspiring.